Hey guys, I am John Carrick, and today we are looking at Conan the King number 40. I love this cover. I don't know if this is Mike Doherty on the cover, but this is Mike Doherty pencils. And the other thing that I have noticed is that these Conan the King stories are double-sized comics. All the ones I've got are twice the size of regular comics. I don't think they were being put out every month. My guess is they were probably every 2 months. But I didn't look that up. I did just look up the Titan Comics series that Jim Zub is doing. I was listening to Thinking Critical. I like his show a lot. I watch him a lot. I don't know his name, so I never remember the name of his channel. But I've said a lot of the things that he said about comics in here. The one thing I will say about this is Don Krar, and he wrote my favorite Conan story in Savage Sword of Conan number 157, The Wrath of Crom. And it was a long story like this, what would have been 2 or 3 22-page comics. And this one starts off with Khan looking a lot like Sylvester Stallone. And he's with Pallantides and Trocero. Those are his father's war council, his generals, his men-at-arms and whatever. And they are trying to attack the city of Cordova. And they're talking about, this is all, so the first third of this book, the first half of this book is all Caesar in the field, sort of knights and cavalry war. And it's unfortunate, I get the story, but there's not a lot of the sort of 70s battlefield visuals. If you guys ever got to see the Sean Bean Sharps series where he played, I think he was promoted to Captain Sharp. And that was awesome. That was a Napoleonic War, Wellington versus Napoleon. And that was a lot of, soldiers in the field like Caesar and Pompey or any of the feudal battles where it's all about maneuver in the field of your soldiers and how quickly and how smooth. And, it's this, that's what this story is. But the visuals don't necessarily carry it along. There is a lot of dialogue in here. There's a ton of, it's really kind of dialogue heavy. And I do wonder how much of this was scripted versus outlined before it was drawn. Here we get Khan up on the hill. Now Khan is having a problem. The problem that's written into all this is that Khan has to send these men up against an enemy that outnumbers them like 4-1. So he's ordering these men to their deaths. And it really does not sit well with him. But he does give the order. And there is some repetition. There's a lot of repetition in this comic, which is it's poor writing. I'm guilty of it at times. I know other people have been guilty of it. In this book, we get a couple of guys coming up to him and repeating the things that they're saying. They're volunteering to go. And then Khan says, I can't order men to their deaths. And it's pointed out to him that we're volunteering. One thing people never do in the military is volunteer, but this is a story for kids. And generals, of course, officers do volunteer their soldiers all the time. And here we get a Captain Crunch Spidey comic. I like this guy's helmet. I wish we had a better full panel shot of the enemy. But this is for Captain Crunch. I guess the General Mills got jealous that Hostess was killing it. Bodybuilder car. And now we get, here's another strange thing. In the rear, a lot of these, let the plane fly by. In the rear, a lot of these soldiers have women with the army who are shouting out their fears, and this guy's been injured. There's a lot going on. The enemy's on their way, and now they're pointing out, I wonder if that's a helicopter or a plane. Now they're pointing out this other army arriving from the east. By the way, Conan is not here because he has been wounded by a poisoned arrow fired by a wizard. And in order to face these enemies, they need reinforcements. And the reinforcements are here. That is Conan. King Conan with his daughter, Redgund. I don't know how you say that name. I've been listening to a lot of Warhammer. I'm on the Vengeful Spirit, which is the Horus story. And there's a guy in there that they keep calling Kjell. And that name is Norse or Danish, and it's Shell. It's pronounced Shell, not Kjell. So these are all the sorts of things that, when you get into literature and fiction, pronouncing names correctly, not repeating scenes. This is one of the repeated scenes. Conan, we feared you were dead. Tales of my death have been exaggerated. That's what he says right down here. Who said that? Was that Andy Warhol? I don't remember who that was. Someone famous said that. Teddy Roosevelt? I think Teddy Roosevelt got shot during a speech back when the powder was weak, and if it was wet, it didn't really go off very well. He took a bullet to the chest and finished his speech. So, yeah. Reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. And here these guys, they're all... Now, Khan doesn't even know that Conan's back yet. They see him arriving now. But again, this is a little bit... This guy, he's well drawn. I don't know. I don't go for the whole Lincoln thing where you had to shave the mustache and have the beard. I did that once at an important event, and it looked awful. I wish I hadn't. Anyhow, here's more King Conan. He joins the fight. Everyone gets in. I love this is why I'm reading comics. Look at this guy in the front who is completely purpled out. I think that's a mistake. But they might have been in a hurry. They might have needed to direct attention to the back. I don't know that they had the opportunity like we do with computers where you could try a few different versions. I think they just had to do what they had to do. You guys can guess what's going on. The dialogue is not especially important. There's a lot of women in this battle, which I don't understand. But this is the 70s, 80s Marvel, and they're trying to... This is diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's what we're looking at right there. And or, quite possibly, Mike Doherty just wanted to draw a pretty girl. I don't have to write politics and everything. And today was Trump's inauguration. I did watch that. We're going to talk about that when we do the second part of this. But like I said, this comic is overly long. This is double-size issues. Here, we have a guy up on a promontory giving them information about, this is the city along the coast of the sea. And it's supposed to be a beautiful scene to see. And I suppose that when this comic came out, those colors might have been more vibrant, but probably not. They've been talking throughout this whole thing about how, when you see it, it's going to blow your mind. We have to take this city. We have to take this city. So now they lay siege to the city. This is Rufio. That is their jester who's with them. He used to be the jester in Corinthia, and I'm just seeing him right now, and he becomes an important character in the story. I don't know why he's wearing his tinkling bell hat, but, everyone's got a funky hat. So I love Conan's helmet with the big Thor ears of metal, of brass or bronze. Now, where does this happen? Where does it happen? Conan goes down in the middle of the battle, right here. His wound has opened up, and but now they've made it they've reached the city, but now Conan is after the battle. He can't fight the next one. His arrow wound is too much. So it just ups the drama. There's never a dull moment. This is fun comics. That's what Thinking Critical was talking about today. Why aren't these comics fun like they used to be? This is fun, but it's also a lot of anxiety because the other thing that's going on, and we saw this, the last King Conan I had was King Conan 19. And that was the one where his son Taurus was kidnapped from his bedroom by a mystical eagle. And here we have Conan and Zenobia and their daughter Radegund and their son Khan. They're still looking for Taurus. That's the number one thing on their mind. So this is issue 40. For the last 20 issues, Conan has been chasing his missing son. It's almost 2 years. And if these are coming out every other month, that's even longer. I don't know how it's possible that these were coming out every month, given that they're double-sized. Like, that is a Herculean effort. I don't know how you say that word. But yeah, and then we get this thing where the Aesir and the Vanir, the Aesir are working with Conan has sort of a coalition army, and the Aesir are supposed to join him on the siege, but they are balking because their king has died, and a new guy, not a new guy, but a warrior named Arn wants to take over, and this is him doing his challenge, and he is claiming kingship of the Aesir, and in order to someone has to stand up against him. This guy Derek, who Radegund is in love with. Radegund is Conan's daughter. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's probably like Rodigan or Redigan. Probably like Reagan. That's probably what it is. Anyhow, he says, I am the leader of the Aesir now. And if he's the king, they are not going to honor the deal that they had made with Conan. And that means Conan's going to have to fight him himself. And Conan is wounded. So Derek says, I'll challenge you for the kingship of the Aesir. Now, the Aesir, the Vanir, we're talking about Odin's people, right? So this is he throws this axe. That's like a statement of challenge. And then they give him his special axe, which has a name. And he makes this claim. I don't know if you guys saw the 13th Warrior. We're about to watch that same sort of fight. In that one, they did the 3 shields. And after the shields get destroyed, you're most likely going to die. But in this one, they fight with axes and shields. And this guy makes a claim that after a dozen strikes, you'll fall. That you'll fall before my axe swings a dozen times. And it goes back and forth. They bust each other's shields up pretty good. And Radegund is freaking out, and she's talking a lot of smack. And Prince Khan is constantly telling her, calm down, shut up, you're going to distract him and get him killed. They're like holding her back, which I don't know if that drama was necessary. This drama is good enough, but hey, braided storyline, right? You've got multiple characters with multiple motivations. That's all a braided storyline is dealing with multiple motivations at the same time. That's what makes for an interesting story. I did read a new 100 Bullets that we're not going to do today. It's like 58 or I don't remember. It's way down the road. And there's a good scene in there where where you're looking down on the street to the 2 characters talking on the street, and a wife has just murdered her husband. And that's just one panel, and it's not even talked about in the story. I'll show it to you guys after this. But anyhow, here we get these guys, and Derek wounds this guy Arn. I love his name, Arn. It's like the shortened version of Arnold, right? And Arn is also a character in The Wrath of Crom by Don Krar. Don Krar is a great writer. I think there's too much going on in here. It's very hard to pull back as a writer when you've got too much going on, or as an artist. That's a mistake that you only get with experience. As a writer or as an artist of any sort, only a mediocre artist is always at his best. This is not like chopping firewood. This is not like hanging drywall. This is incredibly different. This takes a lot of effort and polishing. And you don't have a lot of time in comics to polish. So what you get is an overloaded story, but you're getting your money's worth. This costs the same amount as other comics. It's twice as long, and it's got twice as much going on. So for that reason alone, it's kind of fucking awesome. You know, Derek gets the first hit, and you're not sure whether or not Arn's going to kill him. Arn's stronger, but he's older. Derek's faster. And, you know, it's ultimately, he gets the axe to the neck. It's ultimately, he took a swing and overextended himself. Now, if you guys ever did any fight practice, ever did any martial arts training, and every male should, whether it's wrestling, baseball, football, sports count, basketball, all that counts. You should learn how to fight too. You should learn how to box. You should learn how to wrestle. And this guy takes an axe to the neck, so he dies. And Derek is now king. But I saw this not too long ago, and you can look it up on YouTube. You'll find it. A machete fight between a gangster who goes to a family man's home and calls him out at dinner time. The family man comes out. They both have machetes. And the bad guy takes like 5 swings at the family man. The family man takes a couple swings in return, and they're both within striking range of each other with the machete, but they're also swinging at each other's heads, and they're able to dodge the strikes. If either of them had struck at a knee, it would have been over really early. You guys can see this. It's a profile shot fight from a little bit down the street. And you can see how easily the knee is in range of the machete. One guy the criminal who came to the guy's house and called him out, overextends himself and exposes his back and his neck to the family man, the father, and he blasts him right in the back of the neck. It's a move kind of like this. And when the guy is bent over, he blasts him in the back of the neck and he falls down, spinal column severed. So be careful. Be careful out there and attack the knee. Attack the knee. Because if the gangster had swung at the knee instead of the head, he would have won. If you're going to attack a guy, be serious about it. Instead, he was a criminal and he died. He got exactly as he deserved. Which is, that's God. You know what I mean? That's just God working out his plan. Just like Trump taking office today. Here we get all the cheers. This guy's still alive? How's he still alive? Oh, no. I'm going to have to take a look at this and see what happened. Because Derek is now king. The other guy is dead. Oh, this is... let me take a look and see what's going on. You know what? I should back up. This wasn't a killing stroke. He just blasted him in the jaw. So that's not a killing stroke. That just hurt. And then we get... sorry about that. A bit more. And then he finally kills him here. And not only does he kill him, Arn is still not dead. He's just wounded. And and Derek has to cut off his head. So that's what's happening, is he's wounded him, he's losing. And, the last one, given that the top of the axe doesn't have a spike in it, that last blow to the face wouldn't probably knocked him down, but especially if it had a spike on top of the axe like his does, that would have killed him. But it doesn't. It's a flathead axe. And so he's not dead until he gets him in the back, and then he's wounded and he can't stand, and he takes his head. And now everyone is praising him as king of the Vanir, or king of the Aesir. I just get those two mixed up. The Vanir is Frey and Freya. The Aesir is Odin and Frigga. And so this is the second story in this book. This book has 3 stories in it because now Prince Khan and the rest of the crew go off to try and rescue Taurus from this evil wizard who has been holding him captive. And this guy shows up like right after Derek kills Arn, and they're I'll put point swords at him, but he explains where Prince Taurus has been, and he knows how to get back to him. So that's what this is. And here is the wizard's. Now here's the one, not our first canted panel, but this is John Buscema. Never, ever, ever in all the comics I looked at did a canted panel where the horizon was not level with the background. I don't know if that's because he had a lot of experience working with magazines, but that's one of the rules they have. When I was working in fashion and we were doing stuff for magazines and video, I was doing a lot of photo editing, and that was the first thing I had to do. You have to crop the photo so the horizon is level, and then you do all your updates, levels, hue and saturation, etc., etc. Anyhow, these two guys are this wizard's acolytes, prince, like whatever, and Prince Taurus, who has been this guy's disciple, his apprentice. He has broken out of this barred window like it was nothing. Apparently, he changed himself into some kind of giant animal and flew away. But these guys are begging. There's a lot of dialogue in this. I think this is a little dialogue heavy. This might be because Jim Zub is young. This might be because he's not Jim Zub. Don Krar is young, and this is one of his first comics. I don't know, but this has a lot of dialogue. And these guys beg the wizard not to kill them, and he says, "Oh no, I won't kill you. Why don't you just kill yourselves?" It must be crazy to be a wizard who can throw people away, and he not just like fire them, but murder them. I have to guess that wizard acolytes aren't easy to come by. This guy just murders 2 in one single page. Conan is making plans to rescue his son Taurus. He sends Khan and he sends a small group because a small group will be able to get past the wizard's defenses, apparently, or, sneak in. And this is the wizard plotting. He still has this acolyte, this sort of Igor character, who tells him that there is a group of mercenaries climbing the walls, a group of bandits or interlopers, attackers, whatever you want to call them, mercenaries. He doesn't know that they are Prince Khan yet, though he does find out. And meanwhile, this is crazy. So they make it up the side of the temple. The wizard is giving himself snake bites to turn himself into a reptilian. And their venom is slowly turning him into a reptilian. I don't know what kind of snakes these are. Magic snakes, I guess. But he's getting all scaly. And they showed it back here too. I think he mentions it. How he's got all these scales. He's growing scales. Khan, dressed as Rambo, and the rest of the crew sneak into the wizard's keep. This is really well done. This is reminiscent of the Bernie Wrightson and Frankenstein stuff, where they just put everything in the shot. It's awesome, that's great. That's what comics should be. And this is all, Derek is with them too, the new king of the Aesir. They move through the throne room. The wizard's not there. They have to explore up and below in the temple. And they learn that he sends these illusionary phantoms against them that can be destroyed by smoke. This is sort of some odd writing. I think maybe, look at how, if this is being done in a month and the writer and the artist aren't sitting in the same room working together, when you're a kid, you think these people all work together like a team. That's how you think comics are done. You think the writer and the artist hang out all day and that they're best friends, which luckily for me is exactly the case with my comic book, Ashley Fox. This was drawn by my best friend from animation school. We don't hang out a lot that much anymore because of money, but if we could work together, we would. We'd have a studio. We'd be probably, if we could afford it, we'd probably honestly be working from home because that would be cheaper, and then sending the stuff over via email or text, and you know what I mean, like digital. But we're in the same city. Like, we could work together if we wanted to. We could hang out. Just no one has money right now, and everyone's busy. So, yeah, that's what we thought. That's how we thought this was done. To find out that it's not done that way at all, and that the writer gives the illustrator, there's so much responsibility on the illustrator's shoulders, and they don't get the credit for it. Composition, lighting plans, story, they're doing so much. Maybe they get paid for it, I'm sure the compensation is fair, but it's so much heavy lifting. And when things get out of sorts between what happens on the screen and what's written in the text, it becomes really obvious. It doesn't hurt the flow of this story. There's so much chaos. Here's the thing. I think this could have done with a lot less lettering. I think it could have done with, when you get something this amazing with this much art, just write the bare minimum. Just write what you absolutely have to. It doesn't matter what happens because the art is so good. And there's so much extra writing in this to explain things that probably didn't get sorted out the first time. For example, the wizard sends illusions against these guys, and he sends some real soldiers too. But the illusions can kill a person with fear if they look at them, but they have to look at them to attack them with their knives. So you get a plot hole at the third end of this massive book. Now, if this was a single issue, that would be a big enough plot hole to sort of ruin it. But because you got a cavalry battle, and then you got a fight for the kingship of the Aesir, and then you get a wizard's tower being assaulted, who cares? It's because there's so much in this, but it's a pretty big plot hole. These monsters can't really hurt you, but they can cause you to die from fright. And these guys are looking at them, which is supposedly going to cause you to die from fright, but that's the only way you can hit them with your sword, and iron causes them to disperse, to fucking evaporate. So how do that just, it doesn't. Also, everyone is escaping under the portcullis. They've been able to wedge it up a little bit. Here's the thing that happened. They came here to find Khan's brother. They discovered that he's not there. And now it's just a mad rout to escape. And rout as in R-O-U-T, not R-O-U-T-E. Like they're being attacked and they have to escape. But they also have to defeat the enemy. Here they are trying to get the portcullis. Another canted panel. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. But they do discover that the monsters will evaporate if you hit them with iron. He is out of throwing daggers, which had been his weapons. So he has to count on someone to rescue him. Oh, he also threw a dagger at the wizard, and the wizard is able to like stop it or something. We don't see it. I guess maybe the wizard was on the other side of the snake. Again, there's a lot going on and a lot gets lost between the images and the dialogue. But the images are enough. You know what I mean? It's this is what we came for. Now, one thing does happen is Rufio is trying to slip under the portcullis before it goes down. This is another big complaint I have with this issue, is that Rufio gets left behind. He gets caught and they don't go back for him, and the wizards got him. And Conan, Khan explains to Conan and Zenobia, and they've known Rufio forever. He's their guy. But he was also the jester of Corinthia, and he knows how to get in. And the wizard knows that. Did I skip a page with the wizard? No, it's just a lot of ads back here. Surfer. Looks like John Buscema too, doesn't it? No, that must be Kirby. You can tell by the shadows. Anyhow, these are other wizards who are visiting the reptilian guy, and they have their own plans, and they recognize Rufio as having been the jester in Corinthia, and they know that he has information about the king and queen's like summer palace, and that he can show them how to get there. Meanwhile, back with Conan, and so they're going to torture this guy to death until he tells them every last thing he knows. That's their plan. They say it right here. They're going to torture him to death. That is how the first X-Men went, and X-Men 97, and I could not watch that show. They had gotten rid of Colossus, and they left Beast and Marv behind when they attacked Magneto, and they were captive, and it was Scott's call, and Wolverine was fighting him about it. And that is, look, I'll say that's anti-white propaganda. That's Jew-driven anti-white agenda propaganda making Cyclops a villain. And this is the same sort of thing. These wizards are going to torture this guy to death, and Conan's team has left him behind. Here it's more innocent. X-Men 97, it was deliberate to make Scott a shitty character, to make him an antagonist inside the team. And it was a mistake. It was a mistake because I was a huge X-Men fan, and I never watched anything past the first episode. And I've tried over and over and over again to go back and watch it, and I can't get past it. Fuck Marvel. Fucking hate them. This is the best they ever got. So what happens here is, I did see the new cover for Rogue #1 by Carr Andrews, and that's amazing. That's really good. So maybe Trump, Marvel's going to change its tune and become more pro-white again, or at least pro-American. I doubt it. I don't think that's coming back. This is, you guys, once you understand what's going on, you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can pretend that that's not what's happening. And I'm not as racist as I pretend to be. At an individual level, I can get along with and be friends with anyone. But if you start racial politics, then that's, I have no problem being pro-white. So I am really happy about Trump's inauguration. I should tell you guys what's happening so we can move on. Conan and Zenobia are terrified about Taurus. This comet is coming in. They think it's going to destroy them, and it turns out to be Taurus. and he tells them that he is a magical practitioner of the dark arts, and he was sent there to murder them, but for some reason he can't, and he doesn't know why. And can you help him understand his past and what's going on? So Taurus is back, but that's the end of the comic. I do have the next ones, so we'll do another one tomorrow. I need to get some more 100 Bullets because there was too big of a gap between the one I read today and the one that we read last night. So yeah, let's do the next bit. So Conan the King number 40. Like I said, this is a good comic, and it's this is double your money's worth. But it's too much of a good thing, and that does hurt the story a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. Enough that it becomes convoluted. Not indulgent. Indulgent is one of those ones where nothing happens. It's very pretty, but nothing happens. There's a lot that happens here, and it's not always explained as well as it could be. It's not bad, but it's not everything it could be. So today's conflicted card, this is a long one, is the Six of Diamonds. This is it's a long card. There's a lot of text here, as you can see. This says that the collapse has happened and that there has been a military takeover. Food and fuel is being rationed, and you have been captured in your vehicle with an excess of food and fuel and stuff. And it means you will be investigated as a terrorist. They will do warrantless searches on your home and all your known associates, so all your neighbors. And you have one chance to kill the guy. And, do you do it? Yes. Yeah, without hesitation. Which brings me to all the other stuff going on. Trump's inauguration, right? I'm extremely happy Trump is president. It was awesome to watch. I loved hearing him say everything he said about closing the border, about stopping all the trans stuff. The problem, he even said he was going to stop the foreign wars. He did not mention Israel or the Jews by name, neither to praise them nor to name them as the enemies of the people, which they are. So I don't want to get into that. I'm going to mention that Trump didn't mention it. But there's a corrupt, he did call them a corrupt organization, a criminal organization, and they are. The Democrat Party right now, the government is. I saw a thing with Mike Johnson where he got to sit down and speak with President Biden, and he asked him why he had ceased sale of liquid natural gas. And Biden said, I didn't. He said, oh, yes, you did, sir. He said, no, I signed a study. And he said, no, sir, you signed a cessation. So Biden, as we have all known all along, is being lied to by his cabinet and is signing things that are not what he's being told they are. That's a criminal act. I know they covered up all the stuff from January 6th, and I don't want to get into politics. I want to talk about what Thinking Critical said about making entertainment fun again. And not look, if it's fun, I don't have to be a racist. If it's fun, I don't have to be political. I won't put political driven agendas in my stories. My stories are fun. My stories aren't agenda. My stories are not pro-white. That's absurd. The reason I wrote a female main character was to do more voices. I have lots of male characters. All her backup characters are males. But I wanted to stretch myself as a writer. If all I can write is Conan, if all I can write is angry white guys, who's that fun for? That's not a good story. If all you can write is what you know, then you can't write. Yes, write what you know. Write what we've been through. Do not politics, but passion. That's what works. Like I don't know the guy's name. I really should learn it. I think he's in the Philippines or Singapore. But maybe not. Maybe that's one of the other guys. But it should be fun. It should be fun. And that's not too much to ask. This is fun. This as a 6-page story is fun. Think about this as, look, all of these could be short stories. Any one of these. It doesn't have to even be the same characters. But this conflicted the comic book. conflicted the comic book. I could do that. I could write that so easy, and it would be fun. It wouldn't be racist. It wouldn't be political. It would just be feudal survival in a modern age with sunglasses. It's essentially all it is, you know? And in a big way, it's kind of the world we're living in. The safety and security that you think you have are really an illusion. You know, things seem sane, but they're not. A lot of things are hidden. And so you're able to go through life thinking that everything's okay. It's not. It's not for most people. Now, everyone feels this on an individual level in America, but because we don't see each other's individual struggles. So we don't know what everyone else is going through, and we just see our own little myopic part of the world, which is safety and security on a personal level, and that's a good thing, you know? That's civilization. That's the essence of civilization. Being unsafe on a personal level is savagery. That's uncivilized. And that's what our country has seen for the last fucking 16 years as the Jew-run Democrats have tried to make white people feel unsafe in their home nations, not just in America, Jew-run communists all over Europe. That's what's being done. It's not racist to call it out. It's not anti-Semitic to call it out. There's small towns that are being flooded with Haitians by Jew-run NGOs. There was one that just happened in Ohio, and it was Jews who did it, and it needs to be said. And I'm super glad Trump is president, but he's not anti-Jewish enough. We need an anti-Jewish president. We need if there was a white Christian country that said we're only allowing white Christians, everyone would leave for that country immediately. That's the problem. That's the elephant in the room that no one wants to acknowledge. Globalism, your Tower of Babel, it's not going to fly. We're going to continue to self-segregate just like we do in high school lunchrooms. It's just the way the world is. Jews will never tyrannize the entire world. And that is a terrible way to end this, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try and think on the fly of something positive to talk about. I did post my pictures from yesterday at the end of yesterday's my work. It's a lot more than yesterday's work. That's been a lot longer than just one day. But I did post those, the black and white images, digital art. And I'm going to work on those more while this is exporting and whatnot. So maybe I'll have some new ones or some updates. I don't know. Maybe I'll put the originals, which are really not good, the first colored version. But yeah, today's episode is brought to you by Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. This is the Trials of Ash volume series. And this is the middle of it. This is Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter. Last Valkyrie. This is issue 6 in a 6-issue limited series where we never drew 1 through 5. You don't need them. You should be able to pick up a comic and read it and know whether or not it's good, no matter which number it is in the run. This is a fun comic, and it's pinned in the description as a PDF for you guys. It's out on our website, ashleyfox.ninja, or you can sign up on my other website, alphachannel.games. We have a sign up there for our upcoming racing game, Race War. It's going to be futuristic, sort of anti-gravity racing game. I need a lot of money to get that done. It's going to be a year or two before we get there. And I have some other things I need to do before then. So, like get surgery on this eye. So yeah, all right, see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Bye.